buddies and sickos, welcome to the Toy Chest. I'm your host, Clark Macbeth, and I'm here to review an open source program. So let's see what I have planned here today. Oh, right, I really should get on that. Hold on one moment. I also double-checked to make sure that the battery backup is working as intended. Really important stuff since it is very much spring in Minnesota. So I can mark that off of my to-do list here. Alright, and now on to the more important thing. Since I have the weather radio behind me, I swapped a couple plugs to make sure it's running, even if the accent lights behind me are shut off. Because the weather radio needs to be on at all times, right? It's spring. It's Minnesota. It's Easter. Happy 420. The app I'm going to be reviewing is called Errands, and it is what it says. It used to be called To-Do, I think. But I looked for like a To-Do app in the Discover store. So if you're using a KDE based Linux distribution, all you really have to do is open that up, type in errands, and there it is. But this is multi-platform. There are ways to get it going on Windows and Macintosh as well. But for Linux beginners in a KDE environment, that's way you can download and install it and open it up. You can also open the terminal and put it in command, but you don't have to. If you like the GUI way easier, then just keep doing that as much as you can, and just use the terminal for more advanced stuff if you ever need to do that. So back to the errands. Yeah, today I gotta review that. That is in the schedule that I put in the errands open source application. And the reason it put that in the Today tab is that it is one of the apps in the app list for open source toys, which is, of course, this YouTube channel where I make content for. And I have a review for errands. I even have a list of subtasks that I can look at and add to. And in fact, if you go down and in here, you can add yet another subtask. I know there's at least the surface, the sub of sub. I don't know how far down this rabbit hole goes, but I want to keep as few levels as possible when I'm doing this stuff. But seriously, like CalDAV, there's sync demo CalDAV, and I can put yet another subtask on if I'm looking for steps now to set up the sync of errands, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Yep, I know that's this app. I'm looking at it. I did this. And I have some live captions on the monitor directly beneath this camera that I use to aid in the filming and the reviewing of open source toys, including errands. I am reviewing the flat pack form of this program because that is the one that most users of Linux are going to use. It's just the easiest way to get an application set up and running the way you would like and prevent it from running in ways that you don't. That is the beauty. That is the wonder. That is the marvel of Flatpak. So let's get back to the errands now. In order to add a task to begin with, all you have to do is click plus, make a list, give the list a name, so example. From there you go up top. It'll assign a color, but you can change them to whatever you want if you feel like it doesn't match. But this is example, so any color matches the example list that I am going to delete. I'll show you that function in a moment, but here's the example task list. I'm going to make a task. I go up here, I type it in, you know. And then I hit enter, and there it is. And it's got this settings panel and this down arrow. The down arrow, when you click it, goes up, and down here you can add to a subtask. So you can put in steps on how to do the surface task, the goal, if you will. And love those clicky sounds. So that's the subtask toggle, and this is a little settings panel where you can, you know, add stuff. Add some information to these tasks. This isn't part of the import-export that I'm aware of. Some of these, if you export them to a file and then import them to another machine running errands or any other sort of CalDAV application, some of this will get lost. But within errands, and if you get the sync set up properly, you can add some more information. You can add files. Like for this task, I can add the files that are related to this task that I would need to accomplish it. Maybe some script, some bash script, some code, a .sh, or maybe I would need a PDF that would explain how to get this done, especially if I'm in some kind of home office scenario. You can add tags. I'm not exactly sure how the tags function works at the moment and how to add one, but you can have tags. You can change the priority. You can add a priority onto this task, high, medium, low, and you can add some notes to the task. You can put lines of step-by-step instructions, or you can put lines of code in here, but I would prefer to like have the actual file attached so you can just download that and then run it in the command prompt. I mean, you can put some basic bash, I guess, or some basic commands. Maybe not a whole bash script, but some commands here or instructions on what to do step by step, or just a description of why this is here. And then you X out of there and you can open that and you can find out More information about the task, more details, that's in here. And notes, you can put links to. But it'll store the link as plain text. You still have to copy and paste, but that's a great function here. It put this as 4 on the side when you go back and into the subtasks and open that up. You have 1 and then 2, 3, 4, and if you complete that, it knocks all 4 out if you do the surface level. Otherwise, it'll consider 1 to remain if you check all the subtasks, but not the one up top. And that gives you a chance, if you're not completely done with something, to add a few more things until you can say with confidence, yeah, I'm completely done with this thing in my life right now. Also, you can change the color of the task within the task list, but you can't really change the checkboxes. Like in all of these, the checkbox color is the same. It matches my system. And that's part of getting some things through the Flatpak container, some of my system settings in my theme into this so that it reflects my system as closely as possible, even though a real application running in the KDE desktop environment would look more like this with these buttons here, but it looks more like this because it's using the GNOME environment in its little container of the application. I know those are all big sounding words, but looky here. I can also delete an entire task list, and there it will go. If you delete the task list, it will be deleted permanently. It will not go in the trash. Unlike if you delete just a task. If you do that, if you right-click and select Move to Trash, then it will, in fact, go here into the trash, along with some other things that I just decided I'm not going to do. I'm going to cancel it, and if I want to come back, I can go to trash and remove it from trash, but after a certain period of time, you just got to empty the trash and admit that some things in your life just have to turn to dust. Some other cool things is you can add a due date and time for certain tasks, and even subtasks, like making a bash script to help maintain your computer. So you go to the toolbar, date. I want this done by the end of this month, before bedtime, and there we go. And so, on April 30th, that will wind up in the Today section up here. And the Today section is just like, it shows you the surface level task. If it's part of a whole project, if it is a very big deal, you're probably going to want to go down to the task list and see more details, but with today, it'll show you, this is what you need to do today. This is what has to get done. Please make sure this thing that you're doing gets done. And if there are related files, please attach them to the task. And you can even open them through here, through your preferred method, which in this case would be actually teleprompter, I think. Or at the very least, I'll have the name, and then I can open it through teleprompter. Or I could open the text editor and then copy-paste it from the text editor into teleprompter. But anyway, I have a script, and in my task list, it is like stapled to the task on my to-do list. Very cool, very awesome, very neat. I'm not sure if Micorosft To-Do can do that, but I don't care. I know that's what this is trying to reverse engineer with its own code, its own way of operating this series of commands, and I commend it for that. I really do. What else can errands do, though? Real quick, though, there's yet another video I'm working on which involves very heavy research on how to get around town. I have 3 YouTube channels here. Real name, Fun with Numbers, Open Source Toys. Awesome. Another thing you can do is import and export information. And I want to show you what that's like. It's a bit of a process, but not really. Not anything more difficult than downloading an image from the internet. So I have a way to sync information such as notes, things that I could easily transfer to text or a document file, or formally stamp as a PDF if I really need to take it that far. But there is something called AnyType where I can store any type of information, including just straight up files, and have it going around in a little loop-de-loop from my phone to this, to other computers, and back. It's similar to Notion, and you can link things to other things. The whole application itself is a personal knowledge manager, and it uses the KDE desktop environment in its Flatpak, or at the very least is able to. But here you'll notice some .ics files. And these are files that store tasks, store other kinds of time-related information. And if I wanted to import homework, I could do that. I could share this with a friend over Discord and say, here's a file. Go ahead, download the file, and it has my to-do list, and you can put it into errands. And that's what I'm going to show you here. I'm going to download this. I'm going to put this into my documents. I'm going to show you that whole process because I want you to have all you need to do, the shit you need to do. I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go to documents again. And then I'm going to get out of the rabbit. I'm going to get out of dolphin. Go to import tasks list and import it this way, and it'll go to documents, and if not, I can click home, then documents, or whatever the path is in Windows. It's like retrieving any other file. Go to homework.ics, and there we go. Homework.ics has been downloaded. It even has the color I assigned it on another machine where I made this list. And there we go. I can now show my friend the list of homework I have to do, and then talk to my friend over Discord or whatever other chat thing is popular now, Telegram, SimpleX chat, whatever you're into. IRC if you're really retro-brained, if you're one of those really retro tech brain teenagers, I guess. But anyway, I have this example homework list, and I guess this is what 10th graders in Minnesota are doing. Critical thinking essay. Great job. Flow rate problem for calculus, sure. And sensor lab emulation for Rust projects for advanced programming. There you go. One of those fun electives. But what if these things have to be done in a window of time? Like, what if there was something that took a little more time than just tonight's homework assignment? I know that technically kids don't really need planners for school anymore. I know that there are automated computer systems that will retrieve the list of your assignments and put it all together in a sort of, like those boards they have at airports that show you the departure times. Even though they have the app, people still like to walk up to those because their phone is so deep in their purse or pocket. They don't want to pick it up and fish for it and get it out, so they go to what's called a flight board. This thing behind me and over here is what a flight board is. There's also arrival ones, but they're not taken as seriously these days because they were pretty much made obsolete right after 9/11. You used to be able to go into the gate area if you didn't have a ticket, and you could look at the arrival boards and wait for your loved ones at the gate. You cannot do that anymore because you have to go through security before you can get into the gated area, the ticketed area. That is its own separate area in the airport now because of 9/11. The only reason anyone would look at an arrival board is if they're looking to see when their plane lands at exactly their gate and are going to be that much of a geek about it. So you can go to your teacher's page and make the list from site to site, or if you know just a little bit about programming, you can have that taken from your browser and scraped up automatically. Like, you can use automated systems. You can use things like auto hotkey, where you can just automate some steps out of the process so that you can hit a few keys, and then suddenly a series of automated presses will get the information as soon as you're on the teacher's page, and then pull it back and put it in a neat organized list like this, maybe an Excel spreadsheet, or into an .ics file. And I just went full circle. But I know that there are some school districts that have such advanced technology where they will just say, these are your homework assignments, and here's when they're due, and here is a status where you can upload them. But school districts aren't stupid, and having a planner like this is just helpful in life in general, because life is not going to automatically make flight boards of your homework and tasks. And every time you chase that, it's just going to try and distract you even further. You need your own grip on time, and it needs to be as hard as possible. So, let's say you were doing a history report for your final for the state of Minnesota, and you needed to have it about a particular part of Minnesota society. You had a history report for state history, 5 in high school, and state history 5 final paper. Here's how flexible Errands is. Like, I really want to stretch how far this can go using the example list homework. And then I'm going to pull that back on my own life with another list called housekeeping and share some things about myself. I'll give you a little treat at the end, you know. So I hit enter and it defaulted with this particular list to the putting the task at the bottom. This isn't the case for everything, or you can change it in the settings. You can also have it so that new tasks go on top, and it is in reverse chronological order in when you made the apps, but I prefer to do it in forward chronological order. So if this is the last thing you entered, and this is a major assignment, here is all you can do with it. You can add some subtasks. Like you can go to library, then hit enter, then you can go to settings, you can add a date to do this. So you can do this tomorrow. You just want to get this hard part done. That's great. But what about the assignment itself? Let's focus more on the macro side. Well, this can have its own date too. It starts tomorrow with the library stuff and is due exactly May 1st. And you need that done on May 1st. Not at 9, but at 7. You know that's entirely possible. Except, this gets kind of screwy. Start is the second thing. It starts today. Thankfully you can redeem yourself a little here, and then ends on May 1st. 7, that's when that's due. And suddenly, that is not going to show up on the today section for some reason. That's a little annoying, but that information is in the task, and you can access it here. This is when it started, this is when it's due. And you can put the priority of this in medium, while these are, I would say this, sensor lab emulation, getting that done and out of the way for your coding assignment. That would be a high priority. This is something that needs to be done in the shorter term. Flow rate problems, high. That sounds like a nightly task. At the critical thinking essay, this also sounds like a multi-day assignment. So what I'm going to do is put start today and due Wednesday. There we go. This is a high priority thing that I should work on a bit over several days. I mean, just try and kick out the first 2 days as much of the assignment as I can, and then know that the most of it will be done at the end, you know. Just try and take as much away from the inevitable, most effort at the end as possible. Is the proper way of viewing homework. But this can go even further. Like, you could attach in Go To Library, the address of the library is, and then, you know, address goes here. Done. Click X, and suddenly that's in the notes. You can just pull it up in the notes. Or hope your friend did that when they sent you the ICS file of their homework list. And after you've done everything you needed to do, you've gone to the library, you've scanned and copied pages, you've written down the citations, you're going for a write then cite method. You're just going to look back and make sure that everything you saw and claimed from your confidence is correct, and then you're gonna, you're just gonna attach the source finds here, then you're going to put the essay here. You and a friend, since this is a group project, can take the pieces together and then hash out a final form of this State History, Minnesota History 5 final paper, a renewable energy powerhouse. You can even highlight based on the subject, right? Like you can make history blue. You can make computer black, and you can make math green. And you can have a color for each subject, sort of like you would in real life with folders and binders and trapper keepers, But now I'm gonna go to housekeeping and show you some of what I did, right? And I'm also going to export this entirely fictitious homework task list so I can show you how it works with this application. What you do, let me show you again. What you do is you go to the task list here on the side, you right click, then you left click export, and then it'll give a random hash for it. For some reason it keeps saying the same hash no matter how many times you do it, so you got to be careful there and make sure you're not overriding the same. You're not overriding one of the task lists here with yet another one. So what you have to do is you have to press backspace in order to avoid this and give it its own name, like homework updated year, month, day. Hit save. It'll say exported in the GNOME way. And to import that, you would just need to go to this hamburger menu to the right of the name of the app, Errands, and then hit import task list, or press Control I. It'll pull this up and you can import from here. Or better yet, you can export, and then after you're done with that, you can send that on Discord, send it on Telegram, send it on SimpleX Chat. Just send the homework list so you and your friend can work on each other's homework in high school, because some people do that now. This is really similar to Micorosft To-Do in every way I can think of. It has the Today tab here, and anything that is due today will show up here. You can add tags. Oh, you have to add your tags in the tab. So if you know there's different kind of tasks that are going to span different lists, and they're in certain categories, and you want to be able to quickly look through them, these tags could be people, they could be locations, they could be some warning, like, I don't know, it could take strenuous effort. That sort of thing. You can add tags, and then you can assign them to some of your lists, and you can then select it from here. And then you can delete tags as well if you want to have tags assigned to tasks. And then you can go to tags and I believe pull up the tasks that have been assigned with that tag in the tags section. I just want to double check what I said there. You go to tags, it will count that, and that, and if you delete the tag, it will remove it from the tasks. So I'm not really sure what the tag function is about yet, but if you right-click, move to trash, there is trash, and then here are the lists. These are the things you need to do. I don't really make a default. I just want to have a quick look on the side, see what I intended to work on when I turned on my machine. That's why I have this set to turn on by default with my computer. And honestly, I think this is better than Task Warrior in every conceivable way. As far as ease of use and being able to move things around, the importing, the exporting, that alone should suffice. But if you need a real-time solution, I know there is a standard called CalDAV. It is an official web standard that you can use to synchronize multiple task tracking applications like this one. This is like a really advanced to-do list. It has all the features of Micorosft To-Do, but it's open source. You can go through the code, you can modify it, and you can do whatever you want with that code. You can change some of the appearance around. You can run automations through and with this if you want. You can add due dates. You can store your start date with the due date. You can make priorities. You can add tags to them. And you can attach files that are related to the task or are an essential part of completing it. I give this app 2 thumbs up. I don't really have a rating system for this yet, but I approve. I really think this is the best way to handle your to-do list. And, yeah, I still got some things to do before I can consider this video done. Like, I can't do all of that while filming at the same time. But I also want to play with the CalDAV features and get a real-time sync of my to-do list on all of my devices through multiple apps. And that's going to be a fun project. That's going to be another project for another time, where I make that open source toy, where I take the rule of open source toy maker. I'm not going to do that right now, but this is Errands. I have links to download this in the description. It is available like just about any other open source application for Linux, Mac, and Windows. I don't believe there's anything like this itself for Android. Well, you can't use Errands itself on Android, but there are similar things where you can make .ics files and sync through CalDAV through that, and then it will run through Errands. But what do you think? Would you use this? And for those of you who have tried this out from the description link, let me know in the comment section. And as always, subscribe if you like, and share if you care. Okay, but if I did mark the whole task complete, yeah, it would knock out all of the subtasks, but if I did that, the subtasks would still all be knocked out, but they're not all done. I still need to edit this footage before I upload it onto YouTube. And stay tuned for that adventure. Ciao.